Hey everybody, it's Babette with Haggerty Dog Training. I hope you all are having a great week. And it is that time again for Thursdays live at 1:30. Doesn't really rhyme, but it's my live show every Thursday at about 1:30, depending on the dog schedule. Because as you know, dogs seem to run my life and my schedule, and I'm okay with that today. Anyway, there are a lot of good things I want to talk to you guys about this week. One is inside manners and outside manners, and I'll explain what that means in a moment. Also, I want to answer the question. I'm getting a lot of people are saying, "What's going on with you? Where are you going? Are you moving to Florida?" Blah 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 blah. So I'm going to talk about that as well. I'm going to talk to you about the registration process at Haggerty Dog Training because a lot of people seem to just have some questions and concerns about that. So I want to go over that for all of you. And then there are a couple of little newsworthy stories that I want to point out to you and just give you my take on them. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share a story that popped up in my Facebook feed. Well, actually, it's a quote that popped up in my Facebook feed. And I know people always like to hear little captain quips and stories. So anyway, so Plutarch, who was a Greek philosopher back in like the early, like 100 AD, this is a quote from him. And he said, "A good man will take care of his horses and dogs, not only while they are young, but also when they are old and past service." I love this because for me and my family, we get a dog, we keep the dog. The dog stays with us until it just stays with us until it is no more. And that's just how we roll. And actually, I had this conversation with my daughter the other day because my daughter is riding. She takes riding very seriously. We're leasing a horse right now, and eventually she wants to get her own horse. And it's very difficult for me to not understand, but it's just a different world for me because when you ride horses and you ride them competitively, you have them for a period of time and then you outgrow them. And horses live 30, they can live as long as 40 years old if you really take good care of them. So a lot of people will get a horse, ride it for a period of time, then they outgrow their horse, and then they move on to another horse, and they find a home for the horse and whatever it is. And that's just so weird to me because we only get, 10 years with our dogs, 15 years at the most. I did have a dog for 17 years. So dogs don't have the lifespan horses have. So I get it. I would never have as many horses as I've had dogs in my lifetime because I would have a horse until he dropped out. So it's just weird to me. But anyway, the story I really wanted to share with you though is, remember one time my dad was at the animal shelter for something, and there was a guy who was turning his dog in. And they asked him, "Why are you turning your dog in?" And my dad overheard this whole thing. And the guy said, well, he's old. And my dad said, "You're old and I'd like to put you to sleep." And, of course the guy was completely baffled, but, my dad found that very offensive. And I was glad that my dad spoke up and said something for this dog. And, it was an old dog, and this happened probably back in the 80s. And the dog probably was brought in the back and put to sleep right away, which is really sad. But anyway, that quote, I'm going to read it to you guys again. It's Plutarch, who said, "A good man will take care of his horses and dogs, not only while they're young, but also when they're old and past service." And, one thing we were talking about rescue earlier this week, and Purebred Dog Rescue. And I don't want this to lead into breeder bashing because that's not what I'm doing. But if you want a purebred dog, don't hesitate to reach out to breeders, because breeders, a lot of times they're scaling down their kennels and they can show just so many dogs at one time. And they do like to find really good homes for their older or young adults that they're not showing anymore or turned out not to be, what they needed for their breeding program. So it's a great way to find a well-bred, purebred dog. So that's something to keep in mind. If you do want a purebred dog, go to acekc.org and look for the breeder contact in your area for that particular breed. All right, so on the next thing, so I want to talk about inside manners and outside manners. I had somebody who said that once about, oh yeah, my kids have their inside manners and that outside manners. Now, I don't know about you, but my mom raised me that every night at dinner, I had to put my napkin on my lap, keep my left hand, elbows off the table. I had to say please and thank you. Whether we were just the two of us or the three of us at dinner, my dad being home, or if we were out at a restaurant. Well, the same thing goes for your dog. Your dog can't just be good sometimes when they're in the house. It's super important, especially if you're spending good money on professional training, that you bring training into all facets of your life. Training should be 24/7. I had somebody who brought their dog to us yesterday, coming in for canine enrichment, and we had done private lessons with their dog. It's a lovely dog. But the woman was being dragged in by her dog. The dog was on the flat buckle collar that was too big. You're given, when you come to Haggerty Dog Training, we give you the correct training equipment for your dog. But, maybe we shouldn't call it training equipment. It's equipment that you use all the time. So your dog, when you come for dog training, your dog shouldn't just be healing in your lessons or in those 15, 20 minutes that you're outside practicing with your dog. Everything should be a heel. When you're leaving to go out of your house to come to school, you should make your dog sit. Make your dog stay. You open up the door. You go out the door, having your dog heel, not dragging you out the door. Make them sit and stay while you lock the door. Make them heel to the car. Like, they should always be heeling. They should always have that training collar on them when the leash is attached to them. Now, I know I tell you guys all the time, if you're using a training collar, that should not be on when they're in the crate. That should not be on when they're playing with other dogs. That should not be on them when the leash comes off. However, it should be on whenever the leash is attached to them so that you can continue to keep your dog in training mode. If your dog is always reminded of inside manners and outside manners, you're going to have a much better behaved dog. So it's super important that you make training everyday part of your life, 24/7. It's imperative. So, for example, Maria, our manager, was telling me the other day about how she saw one of her students out in public, and the dog came. Oh, no, it was one of the dogs that came in the other day for their lessons, and woman came in, she let the dog jump up on the trainer, and she said, oh, it was a terrible day at the park. I took her to the park, and she jumped up all over people. But she wasn't correcting the dog, and the dog shouldn't be given the opportunity to jump up on the people. She should be heeling the dog towards the people, make the dog sit and stay for the people, and let the person go over there and greet them. They shouldn't just be like, oh, we're going on this walk, and I'm going to let the dog drag me everywhere. The dog should be right there in that heel position all the time. All the time. That's where they belong. That is their happy place. Just like you do yoga on a mat, your dog should be heeling and walking next to you on your left-hand side on a nice, loose leash. It's super important. We tell our owners all the time, the first week, I don't want you to practice with distractions. Now, we get people who call us all the time and say, oh, my dog's not good with other dogs, so I want group classes. No, we're not going to let you in the group class. The reason why we're not going to let you in the group class is because you need to get control over your dog without distractions. Then we can bring in the distractions. Okay, if you can't get control over your dog privately, one-on-one, when you're alone with your dog, you're not going to be able to get control over it with distractions. So, for example, we tell all of our owners the very first week, you are to practice in your backyard or in your driveway, 15, 20 minutes, no distractions. I had a lady who came in yesterday. She has a problem with her dog with distractions. I told her this week, no distractions. Yeah, but I want to get this problem solved. Yes, but we have to lay the foundation. I want to build a big house, but you know what? I have to start with the proper equipment, with my good wood, my nails, my glue, etc. I don't just throw up a house and put it together with spit. I have to lay a foundation. If you don't lay a foundation in training, you're going to fragment. They're not going to have a foundation. You're going to have a fractured relationship, and you're not going to have a well-trained dog. So no distractions that first week of training. No distractions until I tell you otherwise. That is super, super important that you do that. Now, we have a group class going on, and they're coming out now, so I apologize for the background noise. Oh, John Ursioli. Oh, going back, that's how I got Buddy my GSD. I wonder who told you that. Was it me? It may have been me. Yes, that's how you get the best dog ever. You go to a breeder and you find a dog that the breeder's not using anymore for breeding. So, yes, that is how you got Buddy. So back to no distractions. You don't want distractions right away. You have to lay the groundwork. You need to be able to concentrate on what you're doing, and we need to finesse your handling skills before we can work with you and the dog. So it's super important. Try not to rush the process. Good dog training is like wine. It takes some time and it takes some practice. Have a great day, guys. Thank you. Bye. And you'll see that they're all, well, you can't see it right now, but all the dogs are being made to sit and stay before they open up the door. They are incorporating the training and everything. Before they go out the first gate, they're sitting and staying. They're incorporating the training and everything that they do. They're coming in with their chain collars on, or whatever training collar they're supposed to be. Hey, Danny, it's good to see you, as always. Love the profile photo. God bless Lisa. Okay, and then you want to apply all of your skills that you're learning to everything. Make them sit and stay at the door. Make them sit and stay when you're giving them food. You want to incorporate when you're watching television. Put your dog in his place. Tell him, go to your bed, lay down, and stay. That is super important that you incorporate the training in everything that you're doing. And apply. The skills are not just designed when you're out in that driveway for 15, 20 minutes. They are designed for everything in life, just like please and thank you, napkin on the lap, applied to sitting at McDonald's, sitting at the home dining room table, or in a nice restaurant. We have to apply the dog skills all the time. It's the best reinforcement. Repetition is the mother of all skill. And if you really want your dog to understand these skills and be well behaved its entire lifetime, it's important that you integrate it into all aspects of your life. Also, keep your dog on the leash. I had somebody who emailed me the other day. They did a lot of work with their dog. They're really good about working with their dog. And he came from on-leash training, and then he decided one day he was going to start working the dog off the leash in the field, and he had no direction. And he decides one day to start taking his dog off the leash. His dog did not have a foundation. He did not build the skills. And then sure enough, what happened was the dog was off the leash. The dog was 80 feet away. Dog saw somebody, and the dog took off and started running after the person. And the dog was not listening to him. The dog was not listening to him because he did not build the skills initially. You have to start on leash. Then you start an introduction to off leash, that distance work. Then once you have a good foundation, then you can do the off leash training. It's not like, oh, he's trained, let me take off the leash. You can't do that. I'll never forget. We were talking about this yesterday. I'm not even going to say who it is, but there's somebody on TV. The first time I ever saw their show, and I think it was like the first or two times I ever watched the show because I needed a good laugh. It's somebody who plays a dog trainer on TV. I don't think they really train dogs. Anyway, so this trainer shows up at the home, and they're in this huge open field. I mean, this field, they were like in this huge park somewhere. I mean, it had to be at least an acre. It had to be at least an acre. And it was a black lab puppy. And the trainer says to the owners, well, let's take the puppy off the leash and see what he does. And I remember I was flying on JetBlue. This was years ago. This had to be like 15, maybe 20 years ago. And I'm like cracking up. I'm like, I could tell you exactly. It's just, let's take the puppy off the leash and see what he does. And I thought, okay, this has got to be a joke, because I can tell you right now what's going to happen. That dog is going to take off. It's a black lab puppy, cute, exuberant. So they take the dog off the leash. The dog takes off like a shotgun. It was the funniest freaking thing I'd ever seen in my life. And then the trainer's chasing the dog, puppy. I'm like, oh dear God, are you kidding me? Now, granted, I guess it made good TV. It was very funny for me being a trainer, knowing better. And maybe that was the look they were going for. So my point is, you have to lay a foundation. You can't just take the dog off the leash and say, oh, he's off leash trained, ta-da, and undo the leash and see what happens. That's just the wrong way to go about off leash training. So the important thing is incorporate training in everything that you do in your life. Another great advantage, another great advice that I give you too is another way to incorporate that training is when you're picking up your dog's poop, make them sit and stay while you're picking up the poop. That is super important that you make them sit and stay, make them lay down and stay. That's a great time to practice. Your dog shouldn't be pulling all over the place while you're unloading or while you're picking up the poop. They should be sitting and staying next to you while you bend down to pick up the poop. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Now, picking up dog poop. Now, I'm going to share with you a little funny story, I guess you could say. Where is it? This happened in Miami, Florida. So some guy tried to rob a woman at gunpoint. Oh, what happened to my light? There we go. Somebody tried to rob a woman at gunpoint when she was returning from walking her dog. And he tried to rob her at knife point. So long and short of it, she was picking up poop, I guess, when he tried to rob her, and there was a scuffle. And I guess he got poop on his shirt when he was trying to rob her. She got poop on him, which who knows if it was intentional or not. So keep in mind, in case you're picking up dog poop and somebody tries to rob you at gunpoint or knife point or any kind of point. And they found him, and the way they were able to link him is because they noticed a brown stain on his shirt, and it turned out it was dog poop. So he got busted for trying to rob this woman because he had the dog poop on his shirt. I don't know if they ran the DNA on it or not, but chances are it was the same dog poop. So I thought that was kind of a funny story. And then a little bit less funny of a story is this poor girl. I read about her last week in South Carolina. She'd been attacked by 3 dogs. They have a GoFundMe page. She lost her arms and part of her colon. I mean, like, how horrible can you get? And they raised $129,000 for her. So if you want to donate some money, she's still in the hospital on a ventilator, and she's been sedated since the attack. There's more to it. I'm not going to share the details because it really is terrible. The reason why I want to bring this up is the owner was arrested, charged with 3 counts of owning a dangerous animal that attacked and injured a human, rabies control violation, etc. Anyway, if you have a dog that's nailed a few people, I can spend a whole hour talking about this. But you know what? Why? Don't do it. It's a liability. You're putting other people at risk. If you can't get professional help for your dog, then you need to make another decision for the dog. Because, maybe this guy just screwed up, or maybe he's a real scumbag. I don't know. All I know is his 3 dogs attacked this woman and ruined her life. And owning a dangerous dog is just not worth it. And, if you have a dog that's bitten people or shows any signs of aggression, get yourself professional help. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing that, you don't have to worry about your dog. People, I think, sometimes are too concerned, like, oh, they're going to put my dog down. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. You know what? You also have to protect yourself, and you have to protect other people. And it's super important that, again, if you have a dog that's dangerous, you have a dog that has an aggression problem, please get yourself professional help. It's imperative. You have to do it. There's nothing cool about having the dog that everyone's afraid of. There's nothing awesome about having a protective dog. The only thing that's about it is that it's a huge liability, and you're putting people at risk. People, other animals, and God only knows who else. It depends on what kind of dog you have. Oh, John wants to know, what kind of dog was it? Yeah, I hate to say it. But I am going to qualify this statement. The news says they were 3 pit bulls. Now, I'll tell you, I have seen a lot of pit bulls that are not pit bulls. So that's what the news says. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was 2 pit bulls and a mixed breed. I don't know how accurate it is because, again, not too many people. The news sometimes has the breeds incorrect. Hey, Kevin, how are you? It's good to see you. How are things going down there in Virginia at your lovely canine play place? And I'm drawing a blank on its name, and I apologize, but please put it in the comments so anybody who needs dog daycare in your area can find you. Okay, so that was the news story. Now, another thing. Oh, what's going on, Babette? What's going on? I'm getting questions. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting people walking in like, are you moving to Florida? No, I didn't say I'm moving to Florida. I'm not moving to Florida. Honestly, I'm not even sure where I'm going at this point. Haggerty Dog Training is staying here. Haggerty Dog Training has already opened. We've done our pre-launch in South Florida in Palm Beach County. My niece is down there running that school. It's all in-home lessons. Frolic Dogs is doing great. Thank you, Kevin. I couldn't think of the name of it. I apologize. So anybody that needs daycare down in the Alexandria area, check out Kevin and his family, and they're a great place at Frolic Dogs. It's a good place. Where was I? Oh, okay. So it's not a story. It's the reality of it is I am moving. I am going to be moving in 4 weeks tomorrow, a little bit less than 4 weeks. I'm moving out of my house. And I am looking for a place to live with my 4 dogs and daughter. And I haven't found one yet. I'm not ready to buy anything yet. We're looking out in Sussex, New Jersey, which is out by the barn where my daughter rides. Oh, it feels like every day, but it's a long drive, and I'm getting over it. But we are going down. We're going to spend 6 weeks in Florida with a friend of mine, and my daughter has a trainer she's going to be training with down there for 6 weeks down in Wellington. So that's pretty exciting. You know, my kids were born in Palm Beach County. I have so many friends and family in Palm Beach County. You know, it's crazy. I have more friends and family there than I do here, probably. So for right now, I'm going to be going back and forth. I haven't found a permanent place yet, but I will. And, you know, I'm just kind of letting things roll and see what God and the universe has in store for me. And I know there's a place out there that will rent to me with my 4 dogs, including a German Shepherd. Because the minute you say you have a German Shepherd, people are like, no. You know, my pug is really cute. She's tiny. We could hide her. But, you know, the German Shepherd is hard to hide. You can't hide a German Shepherd. Anyway, so for those of you that are asking, assuming I'm moving to Florida, I'm not necessarily moving to Florida. I'm definitely going to be back and forth. I mean, I have the school down there. I have the school here. I have lots of clients down there. I've got a Doberman I'm starting next month down there. I've trained 3 Dobermans for this lady already. And another gentleman, I trained a golden retriever for him years and years and years ago, and now he has 3 Goldens and a lab. I'll be training them. And then we've got a boxer we're working with now, an Aussie down there, a couple of Rotties. I've trained a few Rotties for this family in the past. So I definitely have, you know, my students down there, and I'll definitely be back and forth. Maria, my lovely manager, wants to know who will be running HDT while you're gone. I'm going to be here every day because there's this really cool thing called Zoom. And I know my staff is awesome and rock solid. And I have an amazing manager. And I have a couple of people that I'm polishing to bring up through the ranks. I know my staff, when I'm not physically here and I'm only here via Zoom, is way more competent and way bigger rock stars than I think they believe that they are. So we'll be running it together as a team because that's what Haggerty Dog Training is all about. It's all a team. You know, we're all one cohesive unit. It's not me and the employees. It's not, you know, Maria and then the employees. Maria, of course, is the one who knows what's going on. I just sort of show up. So we're all one cohesive unit. So I hope that answers your question, Maria. I have complete faith in everybody that works here. Because it is a team effort. All right, so that to answer Quill any rumors about moving to Florida. Now, I'll be back and forth. The other thing I want to talk about is our registration process because I know people get a little frustrated. So, you know, I try to make it very clear. We try to make it very clear to everybody. We put it in emails, we put it up on the website, and when people call here for information. When you call us and you ask us, the soonest we can get your dog in for training, we're giving you the next available date at that moment. And we tell people at this moment, we have May 1st available. Now, I also tell people that can change. We always tell people that can change because when we hang up the phone with you, somebody might call up and say, I want that spot. And then an hour later, somebody could call up and say, I want 3 of those spots. And so on. And then you wait a week to call us. And now May 1st isn't available, but May 21st is available. You know, it's kind of like that round trip airfare for $69 to Europe. You don't know how many seats they have. They're not going to tell you how many seats they have, but when it sells out, it sells out. Or it's like that really cute blouse that you saw in Marshall's that was like $9.99, and you go back 2 days later and it's not there. Like, we don't know. We could have 3 days and nobody sign up, or we can have 2 minutes and the next 3 weeks fill up. We never know what it's going to be. So not only do you have to tell us that you want the spot, you have to go into our portal, which is on our website. It's the Ginger, the dashboard Ginger. You have to register on the portal. We cannot put anybody in a calendar without registering on that portal because it doesn't work. You have to be in the portal to put you in the calendar. So it's important that you go onto the Ginger portal, you register, you call us. Once we run your card and get a deposit, then your spot is secured. It's not like I can call Delta Airlines and say, hey, that, $69 round trip airfare to Paris this summer, could you hold my spot for like 3 hours? And then I'll call you with my credit card number. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, if you want the spot, you have to buy it now. I'll tell you a story. I was going to IACP conference, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. It was in California. And I'm on there and I'm on the phone with my friend and we're trying to coordinate flights and layovers and blah, 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 because it was out in San Diego and I'm coming from New York and she's coming from Connecticut. And my freaking computer freezes up and freaking shuts down. And I think the airfare was like $565 or something. I was already like, oh my God, $565 to fly to California. I can't believe it. Would you believe? Fire up the freaking computer. I find that flight. I go onto that flight again. It was $765 in like 5 minutes time. It went up over $200. Now, yeah, you're probably telling me like, well, you should have deleted the cookies and blah, 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 blah. But I was like, oh my God, it just went up $200. But that's the thing. Like, you never know when it's going to change. I mean, who knows? I could have popped back on and it could have dropped in price. Not that our prices fluctuate, but we never know what it's going to be. So until you register on the portal, you give us the credit card number, we process your deposit, you cannot have that spot. And, if you wait, we had somebody this week that they spent 5 days emailing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we kept telling them, you need to register on the portal. Well, what time can I drop the dog off? Well, you have to register on the portal. Like, you don't have that spot. You don't have that spot. By the time she decided to register on the portal, it was like now 3 weeks later that she could get in and she wasn't happy. So it's super important that everybody understands that. We do write it in the emails. We do tell that to people. So I'm saying it again. Once you know what spot you want, once you know you want to train here at Haggerty Dog Training, you need to go register in the portal. There's a separate portal for Florida, and that's also on the website. I don't know the address off the top of my head, but that is on the website. So you go into that portal. Once you go into that portal, okay, then you've committed yourself to our training program. You've signed all the papers. You've done all that crazy pain in the neck kind of work. Then we can book the appointment. But we cannot book the appointment with you just calling us up and saying, I want to book an appointment. So I hope that clarifies things. I hope that's more clear for people. You guys are a little quiet today, but I don't have a lot of questions. I think I've answered most of the questions that came through this week about working with other people. Why is my dog not listening to me? Because you're not incorporating the training in everyday life. Talked about the registration process. We talked about where I'm going to be living. And I think that's about it. Yeah, I got all my news stories. I hope you guys have a great day. I really appreciate you tuning in today. And I will see you guys next Thursday here live, but watch our Instagram channel as well, because we'll have some videos up there as well. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great week. Take care and enjoy your weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.